Are you guys ready for a super controversial video? Well, that's what you're gonna have today. Today we're gonna talk about my first impressions of the Predator 3500 from Harbor Freight. The almighty famous one that you guys see all over Facebook. Stick around for the end, because you're gonna wanna see that. So first I wanna tell you guys a little bit about this unit. I say my first impression, but I do know a few people that have this, and it's all over my Facebook pages, all the RV pages. Everybody is scooping these things up. So it's about 100 pounds. It is the 3500. They do make a 5000 and a few other ones. This is supposed to run everything that I need to run in my camper: AC, microwave, all the lights and all that stuff. There is some argument on whether I can run the microwave and the AC at the same time, but let's be honest, if I need to put something in the microwave, I can shut the AC off for 3 minutes and still live. So I did get a good deal on this thing. This thing is about 800 bucks right at Harbor Freight. We don't really need it this year because we have already planned all of our trips, and all of our trips have full hookups. I did, however, keep seeing this on, like I said, all my Facebook pages that I follow for RVing, and I screenshotted it and I sent a picture to Ariane, who is showing interest in doing some more boondocking, and I told her this is what everybody's going with when they don't want to spend $2,500 to $3,000 for the Hondas. So I told her this is what we need. We don't need it this year, but let's keep an eye out in case we see a good deal on one. Harbor Freight is always running specials. For you conspiracy theorists, I told her this at 10:40 a.m. and by 11:14 a.m., yes, you heard that right, 11:14 a.m., we had an email for 25% off Harbor Freight anything at the store. This excluded nothing. I did have some doubts, however, so I did go into the store and ask ahead of time, does this coupon work for the generators? They confirmed that it did. Well, 25% off, that's a savings of 200 bucks. So we jumped all over that, and this thing went in the back of my car for $600. So out of the box, man, does this thing look shiny and new. The red, the black, the Honda, oh, just kidding. But man, do they look alike, huh? So obviously it's not going to come with any gas in it, so I filled it up. I do put non-ethanol fuel in my generators and most of my small engines. I was surprised to see that this actually did not come with oil. Honestly, I'm going to run Mobil 1 synthetic anyway, so whatever cheap crappy oil they came with really wouldn't have mattered. But if I just got this thing brand new and took it right to my off-the-grid cabin thinking there was oil in it for at least the break-in period, I probably would have been a little upset. But it didn't really affect me, so I'm cool with that. I put my Mobil 1 synthetic in it. So after adding my fuel, adding my oil to the appropriate level, it was time to start this thing up. And guess what? Yes, it has a pull cord, but it also has a button. And I'm going to take the button over the pull cord 100 out of 100 times. Oh, your fancy button didn't work? How about you open the battery door and hook up the battery? It's not going to come hooked up, you dummy. So before I get on to starting this thing, I want to show you guys the oil and a few features that this has. So here's the oil right here. Here's the dipstick, and that's also where you fill it. I believe they did switch this model up within the last year or so, because a lot of the videos I see and the generators that I have seen that I know people that have, they don't have this hose that you can drain the oil. They just have the oil plug. I do like this, but I think I'm gonna have to maybe tip the generator forward to get all the oil out when I'm doing my oil change. Pull cord's here, fuel's on top. Here's your fuel gauge right here, which is cool. Really heavy duty handles. I like these things. It's a bulky unit and you do need something to really grab a hold of. You can also put a cable through here if you want to lock it up. Just remember, locks, gates, all that fancy stuff, all they do is keep the honest people out. If somebody really wants to cut it, the cable is just going to slow them down and maybe deter them a little bit. So don't think it's going to be foolproof. Over here you got the panel. So it is a nice looking unit. You got your screen here, 3000 running watts, max starting watts of 3500. You got your plug-in This is the 30 amp. It did come with the adapter, which I thought was cool. Came with the adapter, but not any oil. That's kind of odd. Over here, you got eco mode. You got your switch to turn it on and off right here. Okay, so the older one that I was talking about, I believe just says start, run, off. Well, some silly people must have been getting confused by the whole choke, start cold, run, off. Must have got real confused. So as you can see here, it's not start cold or just start anymore. It actually says choke because that's what you're doing. Even on a hot day like today, which is about 80, if this thing hasn't been running, you might want to throw it on the choke. After it runs for a bit, you'll get your green light over here on your screen, and you can move it to the run or restart position. If you're running this thing for a while and it just needs gas and you shut it off, you can skip this part. You can just leave it on run. So let's turn this baby on, choke it, and give it a start. Yeah, no. Was you guys waiting for something to happen? That's interesting, because so was I the first day I got it. Granted, at least it turned over for me. You guys got absolutely nothing. Let's talk about that little issue. I really did feel bad doing that to you guys because it sucked for me, and I know it kind of sucks for you. You wanted to see this thing running, and so did I. I held the start button for the 3 seconds as stated in the manual to get this thing to go. It turned over and turned over and turned over. I let go after 3 seconds. I did this several times. Thinking the fuel wasn't getting through to the lines, I decided to pull start. And in my old age, I've decided I hate pull starting things. This world has got way too convenient with all the battery powered items, electric start, remote start. There's remote starts on snowmobiles now. I just don't like it. I'm lazy now, and that's because of the manufacturers have made things so easy. But I pulled, and I pulled, and I pulled, and I pulled. I went back to the electric start. I went back and forth with those two things until the battery died in the electric start. Now I'm really mad. So I drained a little bit of the oil out, thinking maybe I added too much. This dipstick does not have a full. In the diagram in the manual, it just shows to fill it till basically the threads. These generators are really finicky, which is really a good thing when it comes to the oil being low. They will not start or they will shut off. So I was thinking maybe I have too much oil, we'll start there. So I drained a little up. After it's still not starting, I was thinking maybe I did not fill it enough. I couldn't really believe I didn't because it's pretty self-explanatory. But I got my mobile one out and I filled it back up to the threads and went a little bit higher. I also filled the fuel tank up. I don't know why I did that, but in my head I was like, I don't know, maybe it just needs to be full. I pulled and I pulled and I pulled, and just before something broke, not in the generator, something in my garage, I decided to go to bed. I packed it up for the night and I went right there, and that's typically my go-to now that I'm older and more mature. I decide I don't want to break things and I walk away. I simply walk away until the next day. That night I watched a ton of YouTube videos. I read through the manual. Everybody was really doing the same thing I was doing. There's no fuel shut off I had to worry about. I was questioning, was my fuel a little bit old? With it being ethanol free, I really didn't think that was the issue, but I thought maybe I should drain it out and go get some fresh fuel. But if that's the case, if it's that finicky, do I really want this thing? Because that fuel is not very old. Well, the next morning I decided to get up at about 5 o'clock, and I was out in the garage at 5:30 a.m. I just could not sleep, thinking this $600 generator, which I understand is cheap, but I still want it to work. As I had my morning coffee, light bulbs switched over my head. With all the snowmobiles, four-wheelers, and small engine that I struggle to start at times, why I did not think of this the day before, I have no idea. Spark plug. Let's take that out. Now you may be asking how much of a project is taking out the spark plug on one of these. it's that much of a project. Not very hard. So here's your spark plug right here, and your spark plug wire goes back in there. As you can see, this spark plug wire is over the spark plug. Well, that was not the case for my first Predator 3500. Yes, that one went back to the store. I got a couple pictures for you, and I'll show you right now. That spark plug wire was completely broke off, and the head of the spark plug wire was still over the spark plug, but obviously not connected. That thing was never going to start, no matter how many times I pulled it over or swore at it. Guess what? It still wasn't going to start for me. So I just wasted about 2 hours for no reason. Not only did I waste about 2 hours, I had to dump out the fuel before I could take it back to the store, to Harbor Freight, because they will not take returns with fuel, which is understandable. That was 93 premium fuel, so I dumped out about $15. What else did I waste? My Mobil 1 synthetic oil. Not a huge amount, but that was the last of my bottle from my big generator, so now I have to go buy more of that. So I boxed it back up and I took it to Harbor Freight. Before I put the cover back on, I did notice another issue. Right here, this box goes out to your exhaust. As you can see, it's metal to plastic, and in between there's a gasket. In the top corner, this piece of metal was completely bent in this way. Now obviously the spark plug being completely disconnected from the wire was the issue with it not starting, but that was another issue I saw on my brand new generator that I was not impressed with. So I did get the cover put back on, I drained the fuel, and I drove back to Harbor Freight. Now I will tell you, this was during Memorial Day weekend, and there is a very real possibility, and I say possibility because I was not camping, but there's a possibility that I could have picked this up on Thursday, which I did, and got it ready for boondocking for Memorial, which millions of people probably did. Fortunate for me, we did not have a trip. I was just simply trying to break this in for a few hours, so I got really lucky there, but it's still very frustrating to think about the what ifs. Now for those of you wondering, wow, that's kind of a crappy experience, I wouldn't want that. I wonder if he went back and he exchanged it for his money, or if he's gonna try another one. I'm gonna try another one. It's right here. I have it. So as you can see, I did get this unit home. I filled it with gas, and I filled the oil right to the threads in the exact position that I did the first time. So when I got everything put in and Mom, I'm doing a video!
I ain't your mother. Is that a redo? You want me to redo it?
I don't know, I think you were off the camera when you did it.
You want it to be a redo?
No. Sorry about that interruption. What can you do? Like I said, gas in, oil in, right to the threads where I had it the first time. And then I went to hook up the battery, which I did not forget, dummy, so I could use the electric start. So after getting the battery connected, I turned the switch to start cold. I couldn't take my finger off the switch fast enough before this thing fired up. After running for about 5 seconds, I got the green light and I turned it on to run mode. That's how easily this thing started, and I wish it really would have started like that the first time, because my life would have been a little bit easier. So here we are again back at the panel. Everything looks the same as the first generator I had. However, this does not. So as you can see, I hope, this door is not shutting flush. It looks like the whole trim around here, I will have to try to adjust, but you should not be able to see that. That should be tucked in. It should be nice and flat so the water can run right off. Not that you should really have these outside if it's raining anyway. Not a huge deal, but after the first one and the experience I had, a little bit frustrating. So now that I've explained my story of the experience of the Harbor Freight generator, now's the big question. Do I recommend you go get one? Do I recommend you get one at $600? Or do I recommend you get one at full price of $800? And I can say without a doubt, 100%, yes, go get this generator. Especially if you're a weekend warrior, or you don't camp a ton, or you mostly go to places that have full hookup and there's just that one or two places that you would like to have a generator. You're gonna wanna go get this Predator 3500 or the 5000. My cousin has had this exact model, other than the small little things that they have changed, for 1 to 2 years. He has around 800 hours on it and has had 0 issues with the unit. I just got a bad one out of the factory. And normally that would tick me off to the point where I wouldn't buy it again. However, this thing is just too popular. The people that I know that have it love it. In the websites that I'm on, the Facebook pages, everybody loves this thing for the price point. Not only would I recommend you going to get this with 20-25% off coupons, I would recommend you paid the full $800 if that's what you needed at the time. This thing is durable. It's a little bulky, but I'm fine with that at my age right now. If you're a little older and you can't lift, you can definitely have 2 people, 1 on each handle, to get this thing to where it needs to go. You do have the wheels on it. They're a little small. I'm sure some of you people that are smarter than me could probably figure out a way to put those big lawnmower tires on this and really move it around. Unlike the lawnmower that the guy next door is using, this thing is quiet. And I am going to start it up for you guys so I can show you proof that everything works. I ran it 8 hours, and I actually plugged in one of the kids' blow-up water slide things on the lawn the other day. It was pretty warm, so they wanted to do that. And it never shut off, it never stalled, everything's going good. I believe it says 50 hours for the first oil change. I'll probably do it after 20 or so. Just running it out here on the yard before I really need it with the camper. So this is on run mode. This is the loudest that it's really going to get. The rattle that you're probably hearing is not the unit, it's actually the table that it's sitting on. So this does have economy mode, which you can run, from my understanding, a few lights and small things. Now you might think that just shut off. That's economy mode. That's how quiet it is if you want to run that. Again, I'm going to play around with it, read the manual a little bit to see what I can really run. I don't want to be blowing fuses or making this thing shut off. I really want to keep it well under the parameters for what they say that this can do. But again, even when it's running, you know, full bore, you can have a conversation. This isn't going to be right next to your camper. This is going to be off a little bit inside your camper. Even on the other side of your camper from where this is, you're probably still really not going to hear it all that much. So let it run for a little bit. Celtics are in the finals. Go Celtics. What's going on in you guys' life? You guys Mavs fans, Celtics fans? Who are you rooting for in that? You watching hockey? The Bruins are out. I can actually hear motorcycles on the road louder than what this is right next to me. That's annoying for my video, but that's what happens when you live right in town. So we're good to go with this, I think. So there it was, the Predator 3500. Highly recommend you get it. I'm going to give you some pointers though. Please pop this back panel off, check your spark plug, give it a once over, just take a look at everything, make sure everything's connected before you put your gas and oil in. It'll save you a little bit of money and a little bit of frustration. I can't wait to use this. I don't know if we're going to do any boondocking this year, but that's why we got it. That's the purpose. And again, we got way too good of a deal on it. Thank you, government, for listening to my phone, so you knew that I needed that $600 to Harbor Freight. All thanks to you listening on my conversations. And thank you guys for watching. We're going to do more product reviews. If you like this kind of stuff, if you like the camping trips, the four-wheeling, the stuff that we're going to be doing, in my opinion, we're just killing time until ice fishing comes, because that's my favorite thing to do. But hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the bell. Every time we post a video, you'll get a notification. We're also on TikTok, so go follow us on there. And happy camping to you guys. As you can see, I did get the new generator home, and I got the gas in it, and I also filled it with the oil. I put the oil in to the threads just like I did the first time. Are you f***ing me? How many times do you want me to touch it?
I thought you meant the handle.
Because you did, yep. I'll start over. So as you can see, I